it was just this rattling of my internal thoughts, just like trying to grasp what is happening. I feel like the best way to describe it as far as how my mind was processing things was like you trying to, grab running water, like you're trying to comprehend what's happening and what this is and all of these things, but you just can't. And I think that is like I think you have this moment of absolute terror and panic because you have no control. And then that's the most beautiful part about it, because then it was like the most ultimate surrender.
Dude, my last trip.
Buckle up. Welcome back to Dude, My Last Trip, a podcast about DMT. Rory and I are here with Rory's dear friend and fellow consciousness explorer, Robert. And today we're going to talk about Robert's DMT experiences.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Robert.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys sitting down with me and I guess taking a listen. I don't think I've ever, other than you, just like after the trip, I don't think I ever really talked too much about it with a lot of people because it's not a very relatable thing to talk about. So.
No, I'll give you a little background about me and Robert's history. So around 2017, Robert and I were both way into listening to Joe Rogan, and he had, while he was in the Coast Guard, sanctioned ayahuasca retreat. And when he came home, he got a hold of some DMT. So the first time I ever did DMT was with this guy in his living room at his old apartment. I watched him turn green. That was the first time I noticed auras. And we just kind of went back and forth until last summer. Robert
February.
finally asked for a breakthrough dose. And by this time, I had already had a lot of breakthrough doses. I kind of took it a little bit further than Robert. And I kept exploring DMT further. And he gave him his first breakthrough dose in my backyard. And it changed his life.
Yeah. It did. Yeah, it did. It was very profound.
So Robert, was the first, like when DMT first came into your awareness, was it like through Rory's experiences, or like was it Joe Rogan, or what like called you to say like, hey, I'm curious, I want to check this out?
Oh yeah. I was a total just shithead. So before the Coast Guard, I was an active addict. So, and I don't think it was addiction and just like an obsession with drugs and alcohol that led me specifically to DMT. But through like this battle of addiction, and kind of like learning just everything that comes with it as it relates to like this battle within your mind, I started to naturally like learn about plant medicine. So like Rory referenced, like I listened to a lot of JRE at the time, and he was always talking about mushrooms and his DMT trip. So I think that's kind of how I heard about it. And then it was through kind of just like going through these addiction issues, and then also kind of just like this mental health phase within my life when I was in the Coast Guard, that I was like, I need to figure some things out. So that kind of pulled me to want to try something that would, I'm not just taking something to get high. Like this is something that I think is supposed to teach you something. And that's when I first did a bunch of mushrooms. And then like Rory referenced, I had the opportunity to sit down with some old witch doctors or whatever they called themselves at the time. And I did a ayahuasca ceremony up in Oregon, and that was I think what opened my eyes to this spiritual element of life that I think at the time I was just completely like, oh, that's woo, you know. And I was a material reductionist. Like I mean, would I looked at everything as like you break it down to the nitty gritty details of like, this is why this is happening, you know, cause and effect. And it's obvious that there's all these material explanations for everything. And then as soon as that ayahuasca trip happened, I was like, oh, there's something else going on here. Whether it's, you know, the psyche or not, it's not material, right? And then, yeah, I think that battle though with addiction like continued. Mm-hmm. And then eventually it got to a point where I kind of felt like this is like kind of I need to do something about this. That's not just me working out like crazy and trying all these fasting techniques. And I think I felt like at that point I knew something needed to change in my mind, because that's kind of what controls all of this, you know? And yeah, so it was really just like addiction, and then more or less slowly starting to understand that these things can be tools to help us navigate that, you know?
That's funny. So the material reductionist suddenly felt called to seek something beyond the material world.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty way to put it. Like, it was like, I mean, I think that's like the biggest change that's happened for me in my life, is that, now I understand it's like, it's the subjective things that actually drive most of everything for us, you know, like, and that's like what I'm not obsessed with, but like, I think I'm trying more and more to integrate that in my life. You know, it's like, it's the feelings that we have. It's the love that we have. It's like these non-material things drive more of our actions than the material world does. I mean, and I was, before my trip, I mean, Rory knew I was trying to figure it all out. Like, before I did this, I was I mean, I went deep into Taoism, Buddhism, Judaism, Catholicism, Gnosticism, Hermeticism. Like, and I think the Hermetic view is very much something that I was able, as a materialist, to kind of align with, because it's like, oh, all is mind. I can understand that side of things. And then you learn about like the seven principles, you know, like polarity and rhythm and all these things. And you can kind of like tie that into science too. So I was able to kind of rationalize this like bridge between the material and the spiritual world. And then the DMT breakthrough was like conviction of like, oh, it validated that spiritual, like, you know, side of this that I think I was still kind of on the fence about. It was a long-winded way of answering your question, but like, yeah, I mean, it wasn't just like this decision I made overnight. It definitely everything kind of led up to that moment, which is why when it did happen the way that it did, it was like, oh man.
Yeah.
Oof.
What I love about that is like, I feel like all of us, no matter our outlook or beliefs, like there's still like this pull for what's like something more deep down, you know. We're humans, but we're spiritual beings, and we're seeking answers through this material world, and it only goes so far.
Yeah. I think that a lot of that is, you know, I feel like there's a commonality with folks that have active addiction, and you know, I like I think it's Alan Watts that, you know, kind of mentions how like addicts in a way are just, it's the soul's like, it's searching for something that's deeper than their daily, you know, thing. And a lot of it is just them being deprived of the spiritual side of things. And so, yeah, it's nice that that's there. It just takes a lot of kind of, it's not courage. It's just more of like, you just got to be willing to commit to experiencing it for that validation that you're looking for. You know what I mean? Like, you really got to jump, so to speak.
And DMT is a jump.
Yeah.
It's like hurtling yourself off the cliff with zero idea of what's awaiting you and no parachute.
100%. Yeah.
And I know it's been a year or over, been over a year since that. How take us through that, your experience
Yeah.
when,
The breakthrough dose. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, you were pretty adamant that obviously, for this to be this breakthrough, you wanted to make sure it was a breakthrough, right? So it was a lot.
I may have dosed him a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I already know
It was
you're going.
it was a lot. So I mean, I drove over to your house, and I didn't even really tell Hannah what I was doing. Hannah is my wife, and she just knew I was kind of going over there. And I did it on impulse. I think a piece of me, it was a little bit impulsive because, I think the night before I felt shitty because I had drank too much and I drove. And I think I talked to you about that. Like, it was just kind of like I was feeling shitty just about like, man, you continue to kind of like, two steps forward, three steps back or whatever. I wasn't exactly in the greatest headspace. I think and I was kind of grasping for like, I need to change this. So that was my mindset at the time.
Well, it was also kind of over months. You kept hinting that you wanted it, but it took like that one just really feeling down
Yeah.
to really take it, because it was something that we had discussed that you wanted to do for quite a while. I'd say probably close to a year.
I was kicking the can.
Yeah.
Or the sidewalk or whatever, 100%. I was nervous, I mean, as a normal person, I think would be. I think at the time though, the hits that, the small little bit that we did in my apartment years and years ago wasn't what this was, it wasn't even close. So, I guess like the best way I can describe it is, I immediately thought, oh, I fucked up. Like I thought I died, and I was blown away because I'm conscious. Your consciousness like remains kind of, it's the same. It's not like drinking or any type of other drug where it impairs your awareness, and this is like I was there, all of a sudden I dissolved and everything around me dissolved into the tiniest of, I mean, I ceased to exist, and the vibration, the highest frequency sound I'd ever heard in my life, that came on so quickly. My vision was gone, and I kind of was absorbed into this, this extremely bright, whitish light. And then after that, was the most insane geometric folding and unfolding of these cubes, in and out, in and out. And as I'm trying to wrap my head around what just happened, oh, you just killed yourself, like something went wrong. I couldn't even recall how I got there, right? Like I was like, where is here? What am I? It was just this rattling of my internal thoughts, just like trying to grasp what is happening. Mm-hmm. And I'd associate, or I feel like the best way to describe it as far as how my mind was processing things was like you trying to, grab running water, like you're trying to comprehend what's happening and what this is and all of these things, but you just can't. And I think that is like I think you have this moment of absolute terror and panic because you have no control. And then that's the most beautiful part about it, because then it was like the most ultimate surrender. Like you can't grasp it, So the cubes and all of these things are folding in on themselves, and I'm seeing something that, we talk about it, but until someone does it, right, you just really can't understand what it is and how powerful and incredible it is. And then there's this snake-like serpent thing that's going in and out of the cubes. Like, okay, that's interesting. And then there's a guy, or I say guy, an entity, something that was hyper like reactionary to my thoughts. And it was like, as I was like, oh shit, you just killed yourself. It kind of was sitting, not sitting in front of me. I mean, it's there, it's everywhere at the same time. You know what I mean? But it's flipping its hands or whatever whatever appendages it had up, right side up and upside down. And it's going from, frowny face to happy face, just like rapid flipping of, and it's like, you just killed yourself, like it was like mocking me.
Wow.
Like in this phase of it, it was still, I guess, I don't even know, early, right? Because you don't have any grasp on time, but I was like terrified, beyond terrified. I mean, it was like, I'm dead, and but then as this thing is mocking me and my fear, I'm like, if I'm dead, what is this? And that was like the most insane realization I've ever had in my life. It was like, I don't exist. Nothing around me, the world doesn't exist. Nothing exists anymore. But then what is this? And then you're like, oh shit. And as soon as I had that, oh shit moment, and I wasn't able to really answer it with the only way I could answer it with myself was just like, I don't know, but it's incredible, like, but it's beyond words, like, but it's all these things. And so I kind of just gave up trying to grasp at the water. And then this thing just like decided to leave, which was cool because I didn't really care for it. And as these cubes, they like almost slowed down, and they're, unraveling and then imploding. And then I'm left with this, all of a sudden, like these building blocks where I felt for a moment just like, oh, it's all good. Like it was almost like the space and these geometric shapes and this snake that was still kind of present was reacting to my thoughts and my state of mind. So like as I went from panic to like finally just giving up, because I think that's what I did. I think it was like I went from terror because I thought I died, and I just left like, my wife, and she's gonna be so pissed, and the dogs and like all that, to all of a sudden it was like something happened where it eventually just faded away, that fear and terror. And I don't want to say it's because I gave up, but I think it's just because eventually, like, how long can you stay in that state for, and then this was the weird part. It's like it went from being the most vivid geometric shapes and an obvious serpent type of thing to it like dissolved into, again, this white light. And then all of a sudden the sound I was hearing, it's like mechanical mixed with like liquid. It's so otherworldly. It's so bizarre. But that started to change. And as that started to change, it kind of felt like all these particles that made up everything started to materialize again. It was like I could hear things becoming material again. And then I was able, before I could see anything, to feel my fingers and then my feet in the grass. And finally, I'm able to recognize that I have hands, and all of a sudden I'm in a body. And I was like, oh my God, I'm still here. And I think that was like the first thing that I said when
you asked, am I here? Am I here? He was kind of yelling it. He didn't have no perception of the vocal cords. Yeah, the volume was not there.
The carrier wave.
I'm in my backyard kind of panicking, like, oh shit.
Well, I think it was two things. Like I was like, it was like, am I still here? Like, am I alive?
Yeah.
And then I hear like, yep, and I was just like, oh, like, holy shit. But the visuals, like when you come to after that dose, was like, that was the unique, I mean, that was the part that blew me away even more because there's this language in like every blade of grass, like this type of writing that looks like Hebrew mixed with like Sanskrit or whatever. You know, I'm not a fucking linguist, but like it's beautiful looking, and it was in every blade of grass. And at the same time, I could look at the lawn, and it kind of just went on forever in a way. And your hue or like you can see this glow, or I see this glow around him. And at this time, I'm like just trying to get to a place of just like I just felt this gratitude of just like holy shit, it's not all over. Being and being able to comprehend is incredible. And I was hugging your arm.
Yo, yeah.
I think at this point I was hugging his arm because I was just like, I was rattled, you know, beyond like anything that had ever really happened before. And as I'm kind of still coming to, when I say she, this you know, she was kind of a bluish color. She looked like, yeah, I would, she kind of looked like Collie, you know, and she's scary as shit looking, and she's sticking her tongue out, and her eyes are mean, and then her eyes are kind of in all of these other portions of of my surrounding. Like I see her seeing me like through my soul, like she's kind of telling me to like come back. Like she was going like, you know, trying to pull me in. And I remember telling you at this point, like, how long does this last?
Yeah.
You know, like I thought like something broke in my head. If I thought it broke my brain because the visuals, it's not like any mushroom trip and by any means. No acid can reproduce it. It is like, and this being is intelligent. Like it's like, and it knows like my darkest secrets. And it was so, she was, I wanted to figure out what that was more than anything. Like I wanted to figure out why was she trying to tell me to come back, you know, and this was the portion of the experience that like I would associate to, and like, I don't like to put, labels on anything, but like that was the part that felt like if I had like, I could understand how sometimes people refer to certain things as like demonic. Like it definitely felt like I was scared of it, you know, I was scared of her, and she could go wherever she wanted, do whatever she wanted. Like I was helpless. But then eventually, you know, after just kind of laying in the grass now for, I guess it was like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we recorded it. Yeah, I think it's about 10 minutes, 8 minutes.
That like she had, you know, dipped out. She like kind of just left. And I got to a point where I was able to kind of finally start talking and just let Rory know, like, dude, that was insane.
It's quite jarring, like how rapid it comes on and how disorienting it is. Like even if you kind of know what's going to happen, like you know you're going to blast off, you know your ego is probably going to dissolve, right? Like even if you consciously surface level know that's going to happen, it's so different to actually experience it.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, you probably have the same feeling. I know on my breakthrough, I was like, fuck, I accidentally died.
Yeah, too much or
like,
whatever.
I remember the last thing I thought was like, I literally don't know if I'm breathing in DMT or oxygen right now. And I'm out of here. Like, that's it. It's over. And then that surrender that you mentioned is one of the most beautiful experiences. It's just like, you can't fight against it because like you said, you're trying to hold on to something you can't grip, you can't understand it. And then it's just like, it suddenly sort of becomes more real than anything else. And you start to like really forget like what it is to be in a body and have an eye.
100%. It becomes like I don't want to say it's not sad in a way, right? But like none of the things that like this is like no big thing at all anymore. Mm-hmm. It almost is like, well, I mean, I don't want to get like into like Gnostic views or whatever, but I mean, it's like this ultimate unification, right? Like, and I think that's now I understand it more than I ever have. It only took me like 2 years though to get, kind of get through digesting it and trying to figure everything out. But yeah, it's this unification, that ultimate, and this kind of finally of surrendering the self that brings that ultimate peace. And it is incredible. Like, I mean, there's no way for anybody to really ever get close to understanding it without the experience of it.
Yeah.
Which is, we just need to make DMT a hell of a lot more accessible or something.
Which the podcast hopes to do is really normalize.
Yeah, we've when I was going through my transformation in all of this, Robert was right there. He was like the one guy, fucking, you're not going to believe what happened last night. What the fuck? What the fuck? And I think at one point, everybody who loved me was like, stop. Like, you're doing too much. Like, please stop. And I couldn't. And it wasn't like an addiction. It was like finding myself. And when I started being able to comprehend exactly what was happening, and like when I started understanding the serpent and the seven chakras and the kundalini and all these things that are happening, and then I started believing it, it became like the ultimate seek of completion. Like, it was like something I had to complete, and which I don't know if it's something that you ever complete, but I can tell you from my very first breakthrough, which is very similar to yours with shapes, patterns, and all of that, mine visions have morphed into, now it looks like I'm looking at you or you. It's very vivid. I don't have all of the geometric patterns anymore. It's like doing the sun gazing, all the symbols that you're talking about. I see those everywhere. I see those in the sun. I see those in the moon. I see those like in the red laser. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, those symbols are everywhere, and I don't know much about them yet. I would love to be able to understand them and see what they are. Like, if they're code for the matrix, are they activations? You said you saw ones in each individual. I see them in the sun rays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, are we actually seeing the code to the matrix and proving that this is a simulation, or is that like the embedded signal, and we're just great antennas as humans? Are we just antennas and we're receiving information from external sources? It becomes this situation where the more you know and the more you start learning, the less you know. And sometimes I miss being dumb and ignorant, but I'm living a much more fulfilled life with purpose now because of DMT.
Yeah, I would say there's no, yeah, I don't know what the normal, how somebody that I guess isn't into this DMT space would be able to justify like how you went through the type of transformation that you did over the past year, 2 years or whatever. Like, I knew you, well before this DMT's phase, and I just know it's it is this death and rebirth, like there's an element to this where this, old version of you does die, and there's a new version of you that now has this connection to this spiritual side of life that I think is unfortunately missing for like a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And like I think that's the cool part about all of it though, is like it doesn't go anywhere, like what you're missing was never gone or whatever. It's just like being willing and having to be open to it. And I think that it kind of all starts from there. I mean, and because you don't have to do a ton of DMT to like eventually have that connection. It's the
No.
the DMT, to your point though, is just like the most, it's like a rocket ship to that destination, right?
Yeah.
It kind of just like skips over a lot of this minutia of trying to, I don't know, do whatever else
Breath work,
to
yoga,
get there.
religion, church,
I think is like, I mean, that's what people struggle with is like, also that stuff takes a long time. DMT, it's like 30 seconds,
Yeah.
boom, like that's it.
Yeah.
So, and what I really resonate with what you said about like the death and rebirth of it. And there's like a version of you before and there's a version of you after. I think I actually even like wrote that very same thing in my journal after my breakthrough. It was like there was Melisa before the breakthrough and now there's Melisa after the breakthrough. So as like a former materialist, right?
Mm.
What was the version of Robert after the breakthrough? Like what changed for you in the way that you understood reality and life and spirituality and material?
I think it was just having, I mean, I guess what I would call like proof of the divine, of this. I never, I mean, I was baptized Catholic, but I never really went to church. And I was very against pretty much, I felt like, I still feel like dogma is a problem. And traditional religion is just kind of like a trap in a way. And the change for me was like having a true, real, like no one's looking relationship with God, the monad, source, whatever. Like it finally kind of just made it. It's no longer like, are you there? It like turned from that to like, I'm a part of it. It turned into like I actually have just like this much bigger spiritual I participate with my spiritual side of life, on every day. It's like, and I don't do it on purpose. It just like happens now because I just see it that way. And also just like little takeaways, like just go with the flow. I mean, I was always trying to figure everything out, always trying to deconstruct everything, overthinking everything, chasing everything. And after that, I was just so content with being. I was able to like go in my backyard and sit in the grass for like 2 hours and do nothing, and I think you used to see me just sitting back there all the time. Like I found peace, in like doing nothing, which I think that was it. That was like the other takeaway. It's like, we don't need to become anything. Like I don't need to make $1 million. Like I don't need to, like, there's all these things that our culture drills into us and we normalize it. And it makes us feel like shit if we think we're not getting all these things that are outside from us, but it's like all here, always. And I think that was like the ultimate transformation in my daily life. And then just to answer your question is, having a relationship finally with, the spiritual side of things definitely was the big difference.
It's funny looking at that too, because when you like most manifestations, Carl Jung and like all these manifestation coaches, they're like, you have to pretend like you already have it and be content. And now you have all this kind of you a daughter, you have, you got your house, and we're doing this trading thing, and all these things are just kind of coming at you because you're not chasing it anymore. And it was like you were literally chasing it away. And once you were at peace after this, then you start becoming the magnet for all this stuff that you wanted because you're not trying to chase it away. So it's just kind of interesting how all of that comes into play, and then actually understanding what all these gurus talk about, because it doesn't make sense when you're constantly chasing, not with the culture that we were brought up in.
Oh, totally. Yeah, the grind, the hustle or whatever. Yeah, I think the hook would be, for somebody that's trying to like sell a bunch of DMT. I guess the thing, the carrot on the stick for a ton of people would be like, yeah, after my DMT trip, like everything just started going right, like, right. Like, I literally just, I started my own business. I was making more money than I ever had. Like my wife and I, she got pregnant and we had a beautiful baby girl after, 2 miscarriages. Like there, all these incredible things happen. And when you, even like me putting it in that context, it's like, I don't like doing that because like, it's not like DMT equals like good shit. It's like what happens is there was a version of you that was just not open to it, and like, it just validated that like it's not all woo, like I was very much like manifestation, like fucking bullshit, what I mean? Like I all of fucking crystals, crystals, chakras, like all of this, the spiritual shit, the woo. There, I mean, there is something to it, and I think like it's when it gets crazy is when it gets a little overcomplicated. Maybe it gets like too dialed in on these specific things. But for the most part, it's like, if you just have this trust in the natural flow of things, and if you want for nothing, like you will get everything, and it's so bizarre how that works, but it does.
It's like I feel like DMT allows you to remember that you never were separate from it.
Yeah.
Like all these things that you think you want to get, like that you think, like you said, is outside of you. It's the remembrance that it never was separate. And then by way of that remembrance, you're able to detach from your need of it. Right. And you're able to detach from like needing it to come in and look a certain way or come in within a certain time frame, because you're just anchored in this knowing that like it's already here, like you're already connected to it. And it's more so just like moving forward with that anchored knowing. And when you live life from that place, you do become the magnet, you do become the signal, and it just flows to you effortlessly. And I always like, I know exactly what you mean when you talk about like, oh, like I got this and I made more money and like I found my soulmate. It's like all that stuff is true for us too. But beneath that, like that's the flashy, sensational, like way that I guess you could like sell DMT to someone, right? But like what's truly the most remarkable and fulfilling of it all is like the peace that it gives you.
Oh, yeah.
And the
end of mental health problems.
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, it's like the end of the battle that happens in here. I think like that's like, yeah, at the end of the day, you can't put a price on it.
It's better than all the manifestations. And I think DMT helps you realize too, like how you said you thought you died and then you came back and you were just like looking at this blade of grass and it's just like the most beautiful. I remember like after my breakthrough, like I was wiggling my toes and like, it's the most miraculous thing in the world. I can wiggle my toes. Like what? It's just, it kind of reminds you, it's like just to be here in this body is the biggest miracle in the multiverse.
Totally.
And we fucking complicate it so much with our monkey mind, like running us in loops and thinking we have to chase everything. And it's like the kingdom of heaven is right here. It's within us. Like it's that peace.
Controlled near-death experience.
Really?
Yeah.
That feels completely out of control.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like kind of the illusion is the control side, right? Like we like to, that's part of the illusion. Like, I mean, so after the trip, I had a lot of time, obviously, to get into the weeds of trying to figure it all out. And for a moment, though, I was like, you know what? That was like, if it is a simulation and some intelligence put this simulation together, that intelligence, like, good for them. That was fucking crazy. You know, have at it. Like like, you know what I mean? Like, dude, I'm not even gonna try to touch that. Simulation, whatever. Great, awesome. That was fucking. It's insane. It's the most powerful, insane, the monad, whatever you want to call it. I think like realizing though, like being able to kind of connect the dots on so many of these things that I learned throughout the years and all of these different ideologies, the most fascinating and I feel like obvious one is like the illusion, and the ultimate truth or whatever you want to call it is this unity, right? Which is like I think no one knows for sure, right? But like the idea, at least that I've like, or the consensus that I've come to is that um you know Rory is a name, and he's got like a history, and there's experiences that are yours, and then I'm Robert because I'm a name and I have my experiences, but outside from that, this like awareness that's in him and in me and in you and in everything, or this whatever, it's all things, and so like that piece of the illusion is really that like there is no self, or they're individual, or at least that was my takeaway, and what's kind of brought me to this being comfortable with my level of understanding these things now. And then the second illusion was kind of what you were talking about in relation to not the matrix, the need for things, right? Like if the base of what is the ultimate truth is that everything is one, like the unity, there's nothing that's outside from you, right? And you don't need for anything, like you are all things, right? So I think like that consensus for me brought me a lot of peace of mind, because it felt like I didn't need, there was no conspiracy that I needed to unpack, there was no religion that I needed to read more about. Like it was almost like that kind of connects the dots with so many of these things, Jesus and his teachings, like in the way that Jewish folk talk about consciousness, it's all pretty much saying the same thing. Taoism, Buddhism.
Well, and they all have the seven heart chakra centers, and they all talk about it. And that's what I started finding was like, not like just Christianity or Buddhism. Like look at what they all have that are in common, and then you could kind of start from there. And that's usually a really good base. Yeah. So, because it doesn't have anything to do with just one of them. It's all of them, and there's a reason that it's all interpretation, right? And these things have all been passed down and rewritten and retranslated with ancient languages and things that we could have misidentified. But when you start seeing the commonalities, I think that's the best place to start when it comes to trying to find a religion that seeks you. Or I don't even know if I am religious. I don't know what I am now after this whole thing. I don't know if I'm just all of them or like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I would consider myself. I can tell you that I'm far more spiritual now than I ever have been in my whole life. And these things are, I don't know.
But you also don't feel like you need to put yourself in one box, and like kind of cut yourself off from everything else, because you've had this expanded experience where you realize there's truth in all of them.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm seeing Yeshua for the first time. I was starting to write him off. I saw him on DMT by the pyramids. I would love to explore his time in Egypt. Hindu goddesses, Greek, we're seeing all of these, like all of the gods that have been written about across religion and everything. And then, Thoth and Source and all of this stuff. And how is this fitting together? And then you have archetypes.
It's so confusing
because they're all kind of real when you start seeing them. The further you go down, it's like Robert, I do my sun gazing every night, and Robert texts me. He's like, "What did you see?" I was all the Ark of the Covenant in an underwater base, and he was like, "Holy shit!" Was not expecting that. Yeah. So I don't know, but it's so clear, and I'm like, I don't like. Well, this shit's real. Like
that's where I've really that's where Rory's really opened my mind, is because I haven't, you guys are very well versed in this DMT realm, and also like there's other practices that I've heard him mention that you do, and there's other things that involve this interaction, I think, with the spiritual side of things. And I where what fascinates me, and it's just because I do find it like exciting and fascinating, because I do see a level of legitimacy to it now, is the fact that, like, why do we all see like a serpent or this snake? Why did I see Kali? Like, the fact that she was, I like went on Amazon and I like bought a poster like literally the day afterwards, because I was like, no fucking way, dude. Like, how is that the thing that decided to be hyper intelligent, dance in front of me, try to lure me to my death again, or whatever she was doing? Like, it makes you think, like, what is actually happening here? What is that language that's like in all of these blades of grass? And then if I get too deep into the weeds, though, I start to kind of drive myself crazy, because it's like, it's an iceberg, right? Like, it just,
Oh yeah.
the things that we're experiencing are just like not even the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And you reference, like, how incredible it was to feel your toes in the grass, and just like what a miracle it is to be here. I think, like, the conspiracy theories that are really dark, like the prison planet, conspiracy theory, I feel like that really kind of put that to rest. My DMT trip put that to rest for me, because the gratitude I had of just being here, like, and how beautiful this place is, and how beautiful people can be. Like, there is like I'm much more optimistic about, while no one can say for certain what all of this is and the purpose and whatever, like, I'm optimistic about it, versus, like, I know there's some dark channels of which, kind of talk about these not so optimistic outlooks on why, so I do think there's more good in, at least, going for it and trying to figure it out, than bad. But I do know you can also drive yourself a little crazy and end up probably in not some good spots.
Well, Rory and I always joke that, like, you get one answer and it creates 1,000 more questions. It really is a rabbit hole. But I will say, because I do past life regression hypnosis as well. And I've never come across any cases in clients I've had in reading about Dolores Cannon and Dr. Michael Moon and Dr. Brian Weiss and other well-known regressionists. Like, we've never had a case where someone's reporting a prison planet type of situation, or reporting that they're forced to incarnate and or anything like that. It's never nefarious. It's always a choice. It's always coming from a place of, honestly, like, love and kind of power. Like, to be human is really fucking powerful, because we can take all of this non-matter and create actual form, which is, I think, speaks to, like, what incredible creators we are in as part of the all, that we get to come here and do this in this body. I do think it's really interesting too, what you mentioned about some of the similarities, like the serpent, like, we've all seen serpent, and that seems to be a very common archetype, energy, consciousness, intelligence, whatever it is that comes with DMT, the geometry. And then also the Hindu deities I had no idea about any of them, or anything about that religion at all. But they were, the Hindu deities were like the first gods, goddesses, intelligences that would appear to me in DMT. And for several months, when I first was working with DMT, I was meeting all of them. They were coming, they were dancing for me, they were showing me, like, activating different things within me. And it was so interesting, because I didn't know their names. I didn't even know what they looked like. But then after I would come out of DMT, I would go on Google and I'd be like, that's exactly what I saw. Like, what?
Yeah. It's weird. It's really weird. And especially, like, I mentioned, like, Taoism, Buddhism, but, like, I didn't really dive into, like, the Vedic texts, like, I didn't dive into Hinduism. So it was kind of just strange that was, because you also like try to like rationalize as much as you can after a trip like that, and you're like, oh well, the psyche is a powerful thing, and maybe that's my subconscious dressed up as like a thing that it knew I would be scared of, but it's like, but when have you seen Kali last? I don't know, like the fourth grade. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's
For Catholicism, you would think if your psyche's going to dress up something to scare you, it would be like the devil.
or a priest.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I do. I just think it's so bizarre. I mean, and I do want to. I don't want to stop kind of this pursuit of knowledge. This like pursuit of gnosis or whatever. I think I think it's fun. I think it's healthy now. And it's only done. It only does me better. I think the only thing that I'm trying to continue to improve on just on a regular basis is just trying to be more disciplined with my mind. Knowing how powerful it is and how easy it is to create great things. And then self-sabotage is also like an incredibly, powerful thing too. So
Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecies. Yeah. So that's the major thing that's changed for me is how I think about things. Because I would always be surrounded by drama, so drama would always find me, or like bad luck and drug abuse. It's because that's like all I talked about, because that was all I thought was fun, and I didn't have any higher purpose or any reasons to do anything else. And now, just like through repetition in this last year and all of the shit that we've been going through, and then starting to see the proof and astral traveling and the remote viewing, that I had a great remote viewing session last week where I almost pinpoint exactly what it was, almost drew exactly what it was last Thursday. And so when I start doing these things and know that I'm capable of it, it just kind of propels me and catapults me into just more practice. And what my favorite thing to do every night is like put on some frequency music on YouTube, and I have this bean that I call him the grid bean. I don't know what it is, but it's just the whole grid pops up and you see all of the writing and it floats and it dances to the frequency. And I was able to share that with Melisa. Like we both did it at the same time and we both saw the same thing, and you could touch it and you could feel it with your hands. And
weird.
You were saying the same exact thing.
Yeah.
And like, it was validating because like I saw it start to come. And I was like, is that it? And then Rory's like, here it comes. So it was like we both were seeing the same exact thing and having this like shared experience.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. And then Rory's like doing stuff with his hands and I'm seeing the threads. I'm seeing, and I go and I touch them. He's like, I know exactly what you're going for.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
So what is like, I mean, it's such a loaded question, but like my personal, so like I told Rory I'd love to chat with you because like I wanted to pick your brain, and you don't like go to a party and be like, hey, you want to talk about God? Like people just don't like this. It's not a normal conversation,
Yeah.
like so I don't get to do this very often. I guess like the questions that I have, I mean, I'm sure they're questions that a lot of people could relate to. So I'll try my best to like simplify them. But like my consensus, while it kind of brought me some relief, which is like the self is an illusion, and ultimately like we all are just a part of this one. You do have like there are a lot of folks, like even including in your group, that like reference kind of like a soul, or like this idea that there is like some part of you that goes wherever, and it may not come back to the material space, but it's playing a role in the not in the ether or whatever, right? And so I guess like for me, I want to better understand that piece of things, like it, because I'm left with this kind of, it's like it brings me peace, but it's also a little depressing, because like a part of your ego, I feel like that's my ego, right? Robert wants to live on, like I want to keep going after this is all over, like, or do I just become like one with the all again, until I guess like reincarnation, like is that a thing, like you're even after all of this, I'm still left with these questions, and I feel like though I'll just drive myself crazy if I try to use all the literature in the world to like try to figure it out. But it's not often that I can ask somebody that's like talk to people with even reference like past life regressions and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's the biggest question of life, right?
Yeah. Is this it?
Right. For me, what DMT and past life regression has kind of like opened up for me is like detachment from this avatar. Like I'm Melisa right now. I think I'm Melisa right now, but I'm not. Like I think I'm this energy, and a tiny fractal of that energy like split off and went into this little meat suit, and it's like having this experience. But like I don't identify, like I'm here, but I don't identify like just with this one life, this body, this mindset, these beliefs that I have. Like it's helped me just really, I don't know, like detach from the one incarnation. And then I also think like our incarnations are not happening linearly. I think they're all happening at the same time. I think every life that I've ever lived is happening in the now. Like there is only the now.
Yeah.
And it's like this web that is so complex and so ever expanding. Like I don't think our human brains can ever actually fathom how many layers the complexity of the totality of our energy can actually touch at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it's very, that's like, I mean, the Hermetics view, like, the monad is incomprehensible, right? The ineffable, unknowable. Like we're a finite perspective, and the idea that you could even grasp, infinity, you know what I mean? Or forever or whatever, it's impossible. So like, that does though resonate, because it's like, again, it just ties into the experience itself, and then also like what a lot of these older ideologies have been saying for a long time. So you don't think though there's this, I've never really thought about it like that, like you say like a lateral, or this one after the other incarnation. It's just kind of, we have time, right? But that's because, and we don't even really know what it is, right? But the outside from this material space, it's all just all of it happening.
Yeah, and I mean, and you've experienced that too, especially with like the time aspect.
Mhm.
Like in my breakthrough, I had no idea if I was gone for eternity, literally millions upon millions of years, or if I was gone for 5 minutes. Like zero idea.
Yeah.
And when I came back, I actually like, and I still to this day, I do believe like it is possible that I literally left for eternity and came back, and this is like a new kind of life or whatever. So because I've experienced that timeless state and that connection to the all, I feel like it's easier for me to detach from just this experience. Like I actually don't even know right now if you're real.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're real. Like, you guys could literally just be projections of my own consciousness reflecting back to help me deeper understand these layers and this experience.
Yeah.
Well, how you're seeing Rory, I'm sure, is maybe different than
Well, ours, the very first time we met, the first thing we did was we sat on her bed within an hour of seeing each other for the first time. We smoked DMT and we stared at each other. And I started seeing her. I started seeing all of these past lives where she was like aging and all of these times that I knew her. And I don't even understand how, like, that's the consensus I came to. I would stare at her and I saw her like as a child turn into an adult and then and then get old, white hair, and then it would reticulate. And then it kept getting older to like tribal times and messier hair to um, like looking like a witch kind of different color, like it was, and then it just literally it just kept cycling. It's like that was fucking weird, like right. So but then afterwards there was just a deep connection there. It was like, oh, we finally found each other. We finally found each other in this life. So it was like just a it's really interesting when you do DMT with another person, and then when you do it like on a level where it's not like a breakthrough, like we're starting to learn different things, right? So like I do the 3 second pulls at night. That's where we see our grid beams. That's completely eyes open, don't close our eyes. 5 to 9 seconds is our astral travel. That's where we're able, when she was in Tennessee, this came in clutch for us feeling close.
Yeah, how cool is that?
Yeah, because we're both seeing the same thing, and I could actually see her like little purple body kicking because we assign ourselves our own colors, and she's able to see my color green.
That's
like,
gnarly.
we're actually able to meet up in space.
Like,
yeah, she could.
like you're
She,
drifting away.
yeah,
I'll be like,
because I don't really understand like how to move yet. Like it's all like with geometry, but you like put a triangle around your like waist, and it's just kind of like a remote, like a video game in there. It's really weird. And then the 12 seconds and up, those are where your like heavier doses. Like the 9 to 12 seconds is usually like oversoul. That's where you're connecting to your oversoul and higher self. And the like 90 and up,
your ego dissolves.
yeah. And then after that it's pretty much breakthrough. That's like complete dissolution, but like work using it as a tool now and not like something we're doing in the backyard to feel better one day, and like doing these 3 to 5 second pulls. And it's really changing like what I even thought this was. It's not, I don't even, I can't even grasp the changes that I've had from 365 days ago with the work that we've been doing and everything. So it's just it's complicated, it's confusing, it's awesome, it's otherworldly. I have no idea. And then connecting with like the mantids. I've recently started working with the mantids. I was working with reptilians. I've worked with, Source, Thoth, and Lyrans, and all of these entities, and getting introduced to them at like each step along the way in my journey. And because when I first started, I saw a lot of Hindus, the gods and goddesses. Then it was very Aztec, Mayan. Then it was very Egyptian, pyramids and all this. So like the progression from the continued use and changing it to remain conscious and be able to talk and be able to say your name in space, and like the kind of respect that you get, and how like I don't have any beings that make fun of me in the space anymore, right? I did.
Yeah.
We all did. And like it was almost like they were bullying me to believe who I was and remember the archetype, and then archetypes is like a whole other thing too. Like if
thought forms.
I'm not real, I'm a thought form. And when we do our group things on Zoom, like I could slit my eyes and look kind of reptilian. I could start looking more Lyran, like the shape shifting that's happening. But then seeing the group, and you don't understand how much your frequency and vibration come through this camera. Like there's so much. It's why I have so many followers. It's how I met Melisa. It's like your frequency and vibration just attract everything that you need to have to be successful in the life's mission that you don't even know is your mission and you don't know what it is. But it's a rabbit hole, but that rabbit hole and continuing to go down that rabbit hole right now is my purpose, and it's fulfilling my life.
So you guys, you view like DMT's place in all of this as like a tool, and it was it like is it? Do you believe it to be like an intentional tool?
I believe it to be an intentional tool. However, I feel like the more you use it, and because remember when my pineal, and I said my pineal gland cracked and all that, that
Yeah.
was like the initial cracking. Since then, and since the continued use, I need less and less DMT. So I believe that all humans are capable of this, but it just depends on how much your pineal gland was calcified and how much you need to heal and get that and decalcify all of that and get that open back up. And then once you're able to do that, you can achieve the same effects with DMT, with breath work, with meditation, probably, with marijuana. But I think you could do, we could gain access to these sober. My best remote viewings are sober.
Mm.
Now, because of that, I'm able to tune in and I'm more intentional with it. Um, it's actually much better than with DMT.
I would say I see DMT as an intelligence,
Mm.
and you can use it as a tool, and I do. But I also, it's an intelligence because it interacts with every person differently. And I think if you go into it without reverence or respect, it's gonna
Yeah.
fuck you. And if you go into it with intention um and like truly, a willingness to understand or to learn, then it's going to meet you in that intention as well. And so I think because of the way that Rory and I like approach DMT and work with DMT, it's been a very reciprocal relationship. Like it's like a relationship.
Mm.
You learn each other, you get to know each other, you build trust between yourself and DMT. DMT learns to trust you, and it gives you deeper knowledge and bigger manifestations, and then kind of sees like can you hold that, like can it trust you with this knowledge, are you going to go and share it? There's things that like Rory's been tested, he's come out and be like, there's something I wish I could tell you but I can't tell you, and physically like can't say the words, so it's a reciprocal intelligence is kind of how I would describe it.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, it coincides with the view of ayahuasca being like a spirit, right?
Mhm.
And I mean and I think that's how most drugs are viewed in a lot of cultures, is that, you're interacting with a spirit, and some of them good, some of them not so good, depending on the drug. But
Mhm.
yeah, that makes like plenty of sense. I mean, and maybe it's my not fear, but like after my breakthrough, as Rory knows, like I was able to meditate and get right back to that breakthrough state. Like it stuck with me for a long time. Like I felt, and that's the one thing I miss, is this like feeling that I had that I can't really explain, but it's almost like I felt like spirit in everything.
Mhm.
And now I don't feel it as much, and obviously it takes me a hell of a lot longer to get even into like a peaceful meditative state, whereas like when I was maybe like a month after that, I was able to get into this space of like obviously this incredible nothingness, but then like literally like I was popped through into the DMT realm, and I'd scare myself to like get back up, like, oh man, did I, how did that happen? So I mean, it is interesting. It's bizarre, and it's a lot to unpack, and it's still like, I think when it comes to your group and like what you guys are doing, is the is is there like a collective goal, like a collective you know I mean, even if it's not like some end goal, is it like, do you personally have something that would be awesome that you could take away from it that maybe isn't just like what you and Rory already have taken away together, but something that's like, you know, like more of in a state of completion or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that completion is ever gonna happen for me, at least in this life, but and I think part of that is like kind of like going back to what you were asking me earlier. It's like because I'm not just Melisa, like I'm this soul who, or energy or whatever, like our language is so limiting. Like
Yeah, it
even the
is.
word soul, I don't know anymore, you know, but I'm this eternal energy that has been completing a mission over lifetimes. I'm not going to complete it in this life, but I would say for, you know, through the lens of like our group and what we're doing, the goal for me is to contribute to the ascension of humanity.
Mm. Yeah,
That's
raising the
just
collective conscious type of
to
thing.
contribute to it. I don't think, you know, I can't do it alone. Our group can't do it alone. I think we all get to contribute to this bigger mission.
Mm.
So again, it's like a reciprocal relationship with DMT where I trust that DMT is going to give me the platform, the voice, the visibility to be able to, I guess, like accomplish my goal of wanting to contribute to humanity's ascension.
So it's just to make things better. Yeah.
Ultimately, yeah, because like as we've said, like humans, we make it so complicated and we make it so dense and so dark and such a heavy experience. And there's so much hate and division and misunderstanding and judgment. And it's like, it's so not necessary. It's so, and if we could just strip it away and like understand what is true and what truly matters and like why we came to be in this body and experience the miracle of wiggling your toes, like that's what I'm here for. I want everybody to feel that level of peace and just appreciation for life and each other.
Totally.
What would you say is like the goal?
Yeah, it's something that's constantly evolving. We're only given so much information at a time. So you definitely, I think, the major goal is to get help with ascension, Earth's ascension, humanity's ascension. Do I know what that means? No, I don't. You know, it, we've I've heard the term, you know, Earth split, and some groups are here to handle the apocalypse team, and others, sent to help with the other during the split. And do I know what that means? I have no idea. I just want to be here for the experience, to experience life, experience everything. I got all the drugs and I got all that stuff out of the way. But, as far as an end goal, like she said, I don't think this is something that's going to be complete in this lifetime. And I don't have any solid messaging for from the entities or beings. Sometimes I know exactly what to do, sometimes I don't, but it's kind of, um, I don't know. They just kind of reveal what you need to know when you need to know it. And it kind of depends on how much you've progressed, how much you're still practicing, like that's why I'm pretty adamant about doing my meditations every night, at least for a half hour, listening to some frequency music, doing like low dose DMT. When I first started working with the quote unquote grid being, or just the grid, it could be just the grid, I don't know. But when I first started working with it, I could barely see it. I've gotten to a point now where since I work with them every night for going on months, it's clear as day. I could wave my hand through all the writing, I stick to my hands, and I could look at it. I could actually look at it. I should probably start writing some of that stuff down because it's an interesting language. But um, so it's just kind of building trust with with everything and myself. Just who knows what we're doing, what we're doing in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You become a better person.
Yeah, 100%. I've become a better person. I'm not upset about anything that I've done. I haven't made a decision that I regret in so long. That's the beauty of it, is you just being able to own who I believe I am, and to be myself with not giving a fuck what anybody thinks. That's a huge part of manifesting and being human, and being one, is just truly being yourself. So yeah, it's very interesting, but I don't know what our mission is. But I could tell you, after the portal, everything has changed dramatically for both of us, and everything.
You guys are both convinced, it sounds like, that there are non-material intelligences that are kind of that are influencing us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would say.
Yeah.
Non-material intelligences that are aspects of my own energy, and others as well.
That's what I think that's what I kind of think about, is like the our psyche is everything to for Robert, for our individual experience, it's everything. So I think we have thought forms of our own, right? Like we have our own demons and we have our own angels or whatever. And I think at that, you have that micro level, and then the same goes for at the macro, right? So like maybe collectively we kind of contribute to some of these thought forms.
Oh yeah.
Right. And then they
100%.
manifest into these entities. And it's just cool hearing you guys talk about it, because like you're interacting with them, and I don't think and my level of interaction was the DMT breakthrough. That's pretty much it. And then obviously battling like my own, internally. But yeah, I find that fascinating, and it's exciting too, in a way.
I'm curious your perspective, Robert. Like, how would you say that DMT, like after your breakthrough session, how did your self-concept change?
Like, how did I view myself?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was willing to. I mean, I think because my ego was forced to kind of die, and then, but I could feel it come, like wanting to come back, like almost immediately, right? Like resurrect me. I think I was finally willing to, be less prideful, and it humbled me in a big way. I think it changed my willingness to accept, like, there's things that there's way more people that know a lot more about this specific subject than I do. I'm a lot less intelligent than I thought I was. Like it was humbling. And also, like, I'm not my thoughts either. I became an observer of my thoughts, and I started to be able to feel grounded in that constant practice of just like being aware of, oh, that's not a nice thought to be having right now. But don't judge it. Just like let it pass, and just know, like, the one that's witnessing that thought that I'm not too fond of, like, I'm gonna prefer not to have those. So I guess there's that changed a lot, which was like my ability to kind of zoom out and see myself, kind of like you reference, like this, almost like you're at now a perspective that's a little different, where it's like that's Robert, but there's this energy that is able to kind of witness that experience, and then it's there too to assist in a way, because the higher self, or this part of you that's like, the light or the dark, the light side's like always right, it's always good, so yeah, I guess it humbled me. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
that's the quickest way to answer that question is it humbled me.
It's kind of a paradox too, because like it is incredibly humbling because you just are like, oh my, I'm just this little silly petty
I don't know
little
shit.
human
Yeah.
monkey like animal, right? Like we don't know shit. But then it's also like at the same time so empowering because you're like, I have access to all of that and like I am part of all of that. It's like it's such a paradox that to be able to hold both.
I felt the spiritual ego 100%. Yeah, like that became a thing, and I had to check myself because, when you talk to somebody that would never do DMT or wouldn't even smoke weed or whatever, like, there was a moment for me where I would almost view their perspective as like a lesser perspective, right? Like you just don't know. Like you don't know, dude. You don't even know, dude. And I think that's like a trap, because you're just like, neither do you. Right. Like, and so I do totally. It's like it is the ultimate paradox. I mean, the whole fucking thing's a paradox, you don't exist, but you do.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's the ultimate paradox.
Well, it gives like how I'm so kind of far into this now too that there's a lot of people that will post something or like there's a lot of people claiming knowledge and I could look at them like with certainty and be like, you're full of shit.
Yeah, you're bullshit.
You're just bullshit. You're full of shit. And
you're bullshit.
You're full of shit. You eat your bowl of shit for breakfast. And so that's been an interesting part is kind of being able to tell, because I think right now, spirituality, and it could be something to do with the times. It could be that there's just more spiritual people or just the start of the collective ascension. But there's a lot of people out there like trying to make money off this and trying to sell knowledge that isn't theirs, that isn't real, that isn't factual, and being able to have the discernment now to pick which parts are true and which parts aren't. That's been a huge upgrade that I've received lately. And that goes down to who I choose to follow on social media. I remember before COVID, I was all deep into politics. Like I don't even know how many Facebook friends I lost over politics and trying to get my opinion out there and my opinion's right. And it's like none of that really matters to me. I don't, it's changed so much of what I thought my beliefs were in the beliefs that I held on to just let people.
Yeah, like there's less of a need to like impose, or make someone else believe what you believe. It's
Yeah,
because you recognize others now as like they're on their own journey too, and they're moving from what they believe is true, and it like my breakthrough gave me a lot more compassion for people that I used to maybe turn my nose up at or be like, oh, you're, they don't fucking they don't know shit, like it gave me compassion to be like, oh, I love this person because look how hard they're struggling, like look how much like how adamantly they're searching for truth and wanting to hold on to truth.
Yeah,
It's
the
like,
practice of reverence is really important. Like what are the good qualities in this person versus focusing on the thing that's like, oh, she's a bitch or he's a douche or whatever. Yeah, like no, it's weird. That's like a pretty it was a pretty normal takeaway for me. It's like the ability to kind of just see the beauty in people and things versus like, the not so great stuff. And I felt like that aligned with like the more optimistic view of it as a whole, life or whatever, right? So yeah, the spiritual ego though is like definitely a thing too. And I think like it's whether it's trending because of like social media or it's trending because we truly are like more people are becoming, more aware and awake or conscious or whatever. I think it's just normal for folks to kind of also like, how can they get wrapped into like, how does this benefit me? Like, how can this improve my three-dimensional world? And I think that's like very normal,
Yeah.
I think it's like, it's not just normal. It's like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I totally get it because like, it's not like giving up, but like being able to be like, I'm not going to do anything and like be okay with it is, like that can be really hard, for folks. Like it was easy for me after that breakthrough because, I don't know. I felt different, so the way you feel can change, obviously guides like the actions that you're making and the thoughts that you're having. And so being able to sit and do nothing in a way, it's like the universe giving me a chance to reset, and, but a lot of people, I think that's like the toughest part is like feeling okay with not doing something for once,
Yeah. And I think like it's beautiful too, the way soul will use our humanness against us, quote unquote, to like put us on the path where we're ultimately meant to go. Like using TikTok to bring us together, or like, like dangling the carrot, like what you said, like when I first started on this path of, wanting, like exploring, like, could I have my own business? Like what can I teach? Like, would anyone even want to listen to me? Like, the carrot that soul dangled for me was very 3D. It was like you could become like go viral on TikTok. Yeah. And I like my whole reason for starting all of this was like I wanted to be on a yacht in the south of France. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be like in a luxurious Italian villa, just like being waited on and have like all this money, and like that's what soul dangled in front of me to get me to like take the first steps on this path. And then as I was on the path, like I couldn't give a fuck about that stuff now. You know what I mean?
There's like a real discovery there that wasn't even close to the original.
But I wouldn't have gone if soul had said like, you're going to have to fucking face your deepest, darkest parts of yourself. You're going to have to look at things that like you hate about yourself. You're going to be so uncomfortable. Like you'll meet your soulmate down the line, but like, you're going to have to go through this and that. Like I would have
opted out.
I'd be like, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Living my little 3D life,
Well, and I had moments when I was going through mine. I remember when I was kicked, and that's the other thing that changes it from a drug to a tool for me is getting kicked out of the DMT space. And because I wouldn't make the TikTok and we were talking about it, I was like, dude, I don't want to talk about this shit on publicly. Like I feel fucking crazy. I feel like no one's going to listen to me. I'm embarrassed. And I remember my biggest fears was like all of the religious comments, which I had a lot at the beginning, was like, you need to talk to Yeshua and all of this stuff. And after I posted that first video on July 4th and me and you were up in the getting ready to barbecue that day, and I'm like, it keeps getting more and more views, and I'm like, holy shit. And the response I got was more overwhelming, and there was so many like supportive comments that kind of propelled me to keep going and do all that. But what would have happened if I never created that TikTok, right? Because I was already kicked out of DMT for 6 weeks, and I remember, fuck, Robert, I did so much and I got nothing. I couldn't get in. Like I don't even feel funny. I'm doing all this stuff, and I know they want me to make a TikTok, but I don't want to do it. It's like, what, I've just been kicked out forever? Like what, but that's a whole other rabbit hole going down. Well, what if I didn't do this? What if I, like the butterfly effect, like who knows what would have happened.
But they dangled the carrot.
They dangled the carrot. Yeah. They showed the girl in the bed, and I was like, "Oh, you sold me."
Like, okay,
yeah, all right.
TikTok.com. Let me start that account.
Yeah, it still took me 6 weeks, but it was it's I don't know. It's just it's a very wild experience, and now it's become so normal.
Yeah.
Now I have such a relationship with my spirit guides and the entities in there. And like I have moments where I'll go in, and especially after we did something big, it would be like a party. Like it's like a like high vibe party. They're like congratulating me. Well, I think the last one was when I remembered who I was, the Elder Alathor stuff. There was like a party in the DMT space for me when I got there. And so you have these moments, and it's sometimes I'll see people that I haven't, or people I see spirit guides that I haven't seen since the very beginning that like helped guide me in the journey in the first place, that I used to see all the time back last March, last April, and now I haven't seen it anymore. I saw one the other day, and it was like, oh shit, what have you been up to? And so it's like really weird.
Okay.
It's a trip when you spend so much time in this space that you start developing relationships with your spirit guides and with other entities. And then not only that, they're excited to see you. They're excited to, I'll have full conversations with them. And it's like I have a whole friend group in another dimension.
Yeah.
It's like try fucking explaining that to a therapist.
Only people who work with DMT would understand.
Yeah.
Like how you were saying, Rory will be like, bro, I just saw the Ark of the Covenant buried underneath the sea. And you're like, cool.
Yeah.
Like, bet. Like,
Yeah.
Very neat.
you're not like crazy. What? It's just so normal.
It's definitely gotten very normal around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your laxed attitude and just like you in a way have normalized it, right? So like your reaction to it has been normalized, and I think that kind of like helps people around you to feel more normal about it too.
Well, I still, something we always talk about too is that we have 3D breaks. Like this weekend, I didn't want DMT this day. I was like, dude, like we're here, we're still here. Like my whole life isn't about that. I have a lot of purpose there, but my purpose is also just to still experience life, still be with my friends, still go out and have a good time, still go mountain biking, still do things I enjoy. Like don't let irrational fear or just in a crazy amount of purpose drive you to lose touch of why we're here. And why we're here is to experience. And we're here to experience both. Like not all days are going to be amazing. There's light and dark. And so that's my purpose at this point of my life, is to experience. And I don't want to lose touch of that, but it is fun taking 10 to 15 minutes out of my day and doing some cool shit like the sun gazing thing I'm into now and all
Go
that.
hang out with the goddesses after this.
Yeah, go hang out with your goddesses. Like she's able to take me when we do DMT together. We're extremely I don't like using the word powerful, but we're extremely, I don't know another word to use it, but together we're able to do a lot more than we could individually. So that's been more fun too. Like doing DMT with friends. Like I never thought of it as a social thing, but then you start doing astral travel and you start doing these things that require groups. I actually reached a point where I don't necessarily always love going into DMT by myself. Now it's like, who wants to go in? Like, let's go do something. Like, I want to have my friends with me and let's go experience.
Let's go to Mars.
Let's go to Mars. Let's go to this other universe. Let's go to the Aeonic Loom or this, whatever. We've gone so many places now. It's wild. Let's go to Three Eye Atlas,
Remote view the dark side of the moon or whatever.
Yeah.
What's back
She's
there?
already done that.
Oh shit.
We can talk about that another time.
Yeah, we might have to get some security details as we talk about that.
It's
Yeah, we've seen some shit.
I know.
Yeah.
I've heard. Yeah, it's been fascinating. It's been fascinating, and it's good. It's been good for me just like being around it all the time in the sense of you know, like I'm not going to say levels of extreme, but Rory helped kind of balance where I was at personally with my being in touch with this spiritual ether, and then his experiences. It kind of it helped me feel fine, grounded, not like, oh, you've lost it, right? Yeah. And it's obvious that there's so much, there's you can go so much farther with it, when you guys are able to experience a space that you can comprehend it, right? You can talk to entities and see these things clearly. I mean, it's so cool. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, and that's just the lower doses. That's literally just the 5 seconds, 5 to 7 seconds, and going into that.
And we have protocols and stuff too.
And geometry, and there's things, and learning how to do that. And our mentor Kirsten, like, she's a genius with that. She's able to do, like, sometimes we'll go in and we won't even do anything. She's just got it already put together, and she's able to do that all inside her head and without saying it out loud. And it's like, I'm like trying to put on a Merkaba, like, it doesn't come natural. Me trying to move around in the space, that still takes a lot of practice for me, but it's all coming together. So
yeah,
covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, that was a good one.
This was awesome, you guys.
Yeah.
You feel complete?
I think so.
Yeah.
So, Robert, would you do DMT again?
I think we should take Robert on an astral journey.
I would hit a pen.
Yeah, I think we should get Robert before we leave. Let's just see if we can't take him into an astral journey. Take him to a place so we're all there. You can see that part.
It'd be awesome.
Because when you're doing the lower doses and you're able to still talk, and we're in person, and you're not struggling, you're not battling your ego. I think that's where it really starts. That, to me, that's where it became fun. That was where it was something fun. It wasn't this healing and strong, trying to go through everything that upset me since I was 2 years old type stuff. It was like, let's go have fun and go see other places, and actually seeing them and seeing what everybody else is seeing. It's just, that's where it becomes fun again.
Yeah, the fear is only just like this worry you're never coming back.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's like the part that makes my stomach drop still thinking about it, is that it's like, you don't know until you experience it, but like the reason you think you died is because you're in a different reality, universe, whatever. Nothing that is here exists there, right? It's gone. So it's very convincing that, oh, there is no coming back from this. This is, I'm way far. I'm gone. Dude, there's no coming back. There's no spaceship. There's no telephone. You know what I mean? Like, there is no coming back from this. But I think a part of that is like me just still probably needing to work on, learning to surrender outside from the forced surrender.
I mean, I'll say, I don't know for you, but for me, that still hasn't gone away.
Okay.
Yeah.
And especially after my breakthrough, I struggled with trusting to go back into DMT again and trusting that I will come back.
Yeah.
That fear still every time I go in, I get the jitters.
Yeah, totally.
My heart starts racing. It's like, oh, like you just know. But I think you just get you get better at surrendering because you do always come back. But like, still, when I go in, I always I have like 3 sentences that I say every single time. The second I hit the pen and I inhale, and the sentences I say is I am whole, I am sovereign, and I always come back.
Mm,
And then goodbye.
Yeah.
They drift away. But I do always come back.
so I'm in good company.
You are.
Okay.
You are.
Yeah, maybe one day another breakthrough. But yeah, the pen for sure. No,
Yeah,
We'll
no.
take you to the rainbow markets of Lyra.
Oh, that was a fun spot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
I'm all about it. I'm in. So
Yeah.
Well, thanks for chatting with us, Robert. It was awesome to talk to you and hear about your experiences.
thanks for teaching me. Yeah,
Okay.
and, giving me a platform to share my story. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Robert, if it wasn't for you and letting me crash in this backyard and all of the work I did here, this place is always going to be very special to me, and you are always going to be very special to me. And like, I don't think I would be where I'm at today if it wasn't for you.
I love you, dude.
Love you, dude.
All love fest.
All the best.
All right. Thanks, guys. Catch you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye bye.